Hold on, don't go anywhere. You're in the right spot. You are with Faith and Bishop 2, and I'm here to give you yet another exciting review. I want to thank you all, those of you who checked out my very first review on Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody, and I happen to have watched another film that I think is worthy of sitting down and having a real discussion on. So thank you for joining me, and we're going to get right into it. This film is called A Jazzman's Blues by Tyler Perry. It's on Netflix. And I must say, I went into this film with the expectation of absolutely hating it. If you know anything about me, you know I am known for ripping apart Tyler Perry films, you know, plot lines, characters, the way that we black men are, especially dark-skinned men, are often portrayed. But I think here recently he's doing a lot better job at not doing it quite as bad. Although even in this film you can see a little bit of it. But his earlier films, and I won't spend too much time on it, but some of his earlier films, oof, man, we'd be here all day if you wanted me to get off into how terribly the characters were portrayed, and how often you had the dark-skinned man that was the villain and the light-skinned hero that comes in and saves the day. It makes everything right. If you watch the very 2, 3, 4, yeah, it's quite a few of them at the beginning of his movie career, not the actual plays per se, but the actual films, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, what's the other one? Medea's Family Reunion, all of them. I mean, they were, it was a lot of them. The dark-skinned man was automatically the villain. The light-skinned man was the hero. It was really, really bad. So I came in here with the expectation that I'm going to hate this film as well, but I'm going to give it a shot, because what I do love about Tyler Perry is that he does support African Americans. He does do a wonderful job at reintroducing us to legends and to keeping us working. You know what I'm saying? So I do appreciate him for those things. Although I think a lot of his childhood trauma tends to bleed over into his characters, and a lot of the stories are just different versions of the same story over and over again. So that is just some of my complaints about Tyler Perry. But I do think he's great at what he does. You know what I mean? He knows his audience, and he caters to that audience. Although a lot of his work, I don't think will ever be Oscar worthy. So let's get back to what you came here for. We're talking about A Jazzman's Blues. So I will say that I was pleasantly surprised in watching A Jazzman's Blues. I'm going to do a full breakdown of this film, so just bear with me. I mean, this film was not what I expected. I didn't read any of the reviews. I didn't read any of the. I didn't even read the synopsis when I clicked on it. I just saw it. I said, okay, we're going to give it a shot. It's Tyler Perry. I got a couple of hours to burn, so we'll just see how it goes. What I will say immediately, this film is a period piece. It starts off in 1987, and then it goes all the way back. I think it's 40 years early. I think it's 1947 that the film, and maybe even be earlier than that. But it's a period piece. It goes back to the early 1900s. The murder itself, which is central to this film, actually occurs in 1947, I believe. So I'm thinking it's like 1905, 1906. In any event, it's early 1900s when the film actually, the setting of the film. So to me, immediately, I thought about the color purple throughout this film. I saw so many color purple references in this film, and I'm thinking Tyler Perry surely has to be a big color purple fan. I've seen him, do the references, the famous lines in various plays, because outside of me critiquing him, I have supported Tyler Perry. I've seen the films in theaters. I've gone and seen several of the plays live. So it's not that I despise Tyler Perry. I just find him to be problematic in a lot of ways. But in any event, so yeah, there's a lot of color purple here. And if you don't know, not Tyler Perry, but The Color Purple is actually one of my favorite films. I watch it every single year at Christmas time. Very long story. But it's one of my favorite films. So I immediately picked up all the Color Purple references. The film actually, when it gets to the grand opening, because there's basically two openings to the film. When you get to the period that you're going to spend the majority of the time of the film in, it starts with our main character, and I had to take notes because I had a lot to say. His name was Value. Value is actually in front of the house in a field full of lilac, which is purple. Very first Color Purple reference I immediately picked up. Okay, so the film begins with the mother of Value, portrayed by, I know I'm going to mess her name up, but it looks like Amira Van. I know her from The Underground. The Underground, which I thought was a very, very good television series. I wish it would have run on, but it was really, really good. And I'm not really that big on, I'm sorry, my people keep sending me notifications. I'm not a big fan of slavery settings, slavery movies. I watch them, but I don't want to get saturated in it because a lot of it does make me angry. But The Underground was a different type of show, and it was really, really good. I'll do a review on it if you guys want. But it was really good, and she was one of the main characters in that series. I was happy to see her again on film. She plays the mother of Value and the other character. His name was Willie Earl. Yes, it was. These are the three things that I felt like this film was a mashup of The Color Purple, the Cain and Abel story from the Bible, and Passing the Book. And we'll get it. If you sit here long enough, you will understand exactly why I feel like this was just all those things put together, and then the Tyler Perry splash. She plays the mother. And the film opens up, like I said, with Value in the field. Value is the dark-skinned brother, Tyler Perry, and he is not well received. His father has zero respect for him. His brother, light-skinned and talented, has Tyler Perry has no real respect for him either. His mother, who's also light-skinned, his father is actually dark-skinned, Tyler Perry, and so you see this dynamic begin to play out. The father is basically ridiculing the dark-skinned son, even though the father is also dark-skinned, which again is going to tie back into the common Tyler Perry tropes. And so he asked the son to play an instrument. I think it was a trumpet. And he couldn't. He just wasn't very good at it. The light-skinned brother with the curly hair got up, played the trumpet, can sing. I mean, he just super talented. You know what I mean? And they ridicule him. There is a very, very, very fair-skinned girl that is present at this. I guess you can call it like a backyard party, I guess you can call it that. And she becomes fond of Value. She's also the other central character in this film. Her name is Leanne, and Hattie Mae is the character, the mom's real name, the mom's name in the film. Hattie Mae is basically Suge Avery from The Color Purple. She sings. She actually opens a juke joint in the film, which I'm like, come on, this is total Color Purple. But like I say, we'll get into it later on in the plot line. So we find out that Leanne does like Value. In the meantime, there's a total breakdown of the family. The father, Buster, which I know is a character from The Color Purple. I think his name was Buster. Buster was another name. He was actually Oprah Winfrey's boyfriend in The Color Purple, same name. But Buster basically ruins the family. He wants to go off into Chicago and become a musician. So he takes all the money. You see incidents of violence where he beats on the mom, and Again, lots of Tyler Perry. And then he leaves the family. The brother, Willie Earl, when he turns 19, he actually leaves the family as well and goes up to Chicago, following behind the mother. He also blames the mother for the father leaving. In the meantime, and I'm leaving some things out so you'll have something to actually watch. But the love story of Leanne and Bayou begins to take place, and it starts with a paper airplane, and the storyline actually the story actually ends with that same piece as well. But she throws a paper airplane in the house at night, and it has a note on it. Bayou is illiterate; he cannot actually read. So he goes out the window, follows her. She discovers that he cannot read. And so she goes, "Oh, no problem. I'll teach you how to read," which becomes important later on in the storyline. Also, straight color purple. Nettie and Celie. Nettie comes and lives with Celie, and Celie cannot read. She's illiterate. So she teaches her to read, and at some point is taken out of the house, and that's the way that they communicate through the duration of the film. This storyline follows that same path where she teaches him to read, and then they're ripped apart, and that's how it folds out. That's how it goes. Again, very, very, very color purple. This is color purple 2.0. So the love story begins to unfold between the two of them. And he wants to ask her out to a social, I think is what they call it, basically a dance. And this is before the Willie Earl, the brother, leaves the family. He beats him up and says, "Nobody wants you," this, that, and the third. And he goes and he goes over to the girl's house. The girl has a very mean grandfather who immediately understands that he wants to be with her. And again, very, very color purple, just as Mr. goes over and tries to get Nettie out of the house, and the father is there. Exact same setup. This is color purple 2.0. And so he's very mean to him and basically tells him that, get away, that sort of thing. So he never actually asked her out. So they continue their courtship, and the story continues to unfold. And later on in the film, he goes back to her house at night and discovers that she's a victim of incest, and it's played out on film. It's pretty terrible. Again, very color purple. Celie, in effect, was a member. We think that she's a member of incest. Turns out at the end of the film that it wasn't actually her father, but still he played the father role in her life. So you could still consider what they did as ancestral. In this particular case, this was straight incest. This was her actual grandfather. And our hero, or our main character, Bayou, is afraid. So he doesn't go in and try to, break them apart or, try to rescue her at that time. But he does want to marry her and run away with her. So that's how this thing goes. In the meantime, her mother, who's also extraordinarily fair-skinned, which is central to this storyline, comes and takes Leanne away. The grandfather is claiming that Bayou is doing things to her, which is completely untrue. He's the one who's basically essaying her, if you guys know what that means. And so she is taken away. So our character Bayou goes on. He doesn't actually meet anybody else, but he does go on with this life. And in the meantime, he begins writing her letters, writing her color purple. So this is color purple 2.0. The letters never actually make it to Leanne. The mother actually gets the letters and has them all returned. Also going to be very important at the end of this film. So Buster is gone. The brother is gone, and they want to move to a neighboring town. And the neighboring town apparently is doing well. The coloreds, as they call them, are doing well in this neighboring town. So he goes off to the army. Bayou, he's actually discharged from the army because of an injury. He ends up coming back, and the mother has moved to this new town. In this new town, the mother has opened a juke joint. again, Color Purple. And she's doing very well for herself. There's a sheriff in town who's basically extorting her for money, and you'll see him throughout the film come in and basically just makes her give him money to keep things or to keep things from going awry. This is Jim Crow South, and you know racism is still alive and rampant in this town. This film was actually set in Georgia, just as The Color Purple was. Um, so we're moving on. We're moving on. Um, and Leanne actually returns. Leanne has returned, but she is now passing just like the book. And that's why I said that that's why we get to understand why she's extraordinarily fair skinned. Her and her mother both. Her mother has basically convinced her to pass herself off as a white woman, and then marry a white man because her father basically left them destitute, and so by passing as a white woman, she gets the white privilege, the money that goes along with marrying somebody of class in white society. But in her heart of hearts, she's still very much in love with value. And so the things, the story just gets so harrowing and so heartbreaking from this point on. They are very much still in love with each other, but they do understand that what they're doing is a very, very dangerous thing. And it just, oh gosh, the film just goes, it just really, really goes there. And I'll try not to give everything away because I do want you guys to actually watch it. It was really, really, really good. Willie Earl returns as just as well as Leanne, and you know he calls himself a big man up in Chicago. You basically find out that the father Buster has died, and we just assume that it was drug related. We're not 100% sure what actually caused his demise, but we see Willie Earl is sweating real bad. He has tremors, and he's just very shaky. And I picked it up immediately as a drug problem, and we discovered that as well because he brings a manager back with him, and the manager basically has the same problem. So they both appear to have a drug problem, which is later played out in the film as well. I'm sorry for having to keep putting my finger up. I keep getting these notifications. It's distracting. The mother, Sugar that's not a real name, but the mother, Bayou's mother, basically nurses him back to health, gets him cleaned up, and he's basically trying to get Willie Earl work back in Chicago. So we see white society, we see the extraordinarily racist sheriff, as does we see his family as well, and they're all extraordinarily racist. So we're playing a very dangerous game. If it is discovered that Leanne and her mother are actually of African American descent, then they will likely be unalived. So that is that is what we're starting to see play out. But she's still very much in love with Bayou, and Bayou is very much in love with her. They do meet up. He has this angry conversation with her about how he wrote her letters and she never responded. And, you know, she says, well, I basically never got the letter. They basically reconcile. And I'm speeding through some of the plot now. But they fall in love, and they make love. And this is my other problem with Tyler Perry. The story becomes very predictable. She's going to get pregnant. She gets pregnant, and I'm like, okay, if she has this baby and this baby does not pass as white, it's going to ruin all of this, and all of them are going to get unalived. But this is where the plot line actually thickens. Leanne's mother happens to ride by, and she sees the two of them in a car, you know, doing what they do. And so her way of getting rid of Bayou is basically going to the sheriff, who is the brother of Leanne's husband, and saying basically that he winked at her, which is Emmett Till. That reminded me of the Emmett Till situation. And that is that is punishable by death, basically, at this time of Jim Crow. Leanne knows the mother is lying, and she tries to stop what's going to occur, but she doesn't. She can't. She's trapped as well. Um, and so they actually go out with the intent of getting value. And so the worker inside the home, is actually friends with Bayou. And so she runs off and she warns him. And so he gets in the car and leaves with the brother, Willie Earl, and the manager to go off to Chicago. And that's the only thing that saves his life at that point. So they go out to Chicago, um, and they become, Bayou actually becomes bigger than Willie Earl. They go up for an audition, and he becomes, but basically becomes a star. And Willie Earl despises him. He hates him. He hates the brother that nobody thought was going to be anything. Although he is very talented, he's a drug user. He looks like he's using heroin basically, and that's played out completely in the film as well. So you see the breakdown of that relationship, which started off as children. He never respected or liked the brother, but the hatred gets more and more rampant. So they get into a big fight, and he basically just doesn't care anything about the brother at all. There's one point in the film where he basically says, I hate you. I basically hate you. And let me circle back to the mother of Leanne. There was a moment in the film after she discovers that her and Bayou are romantically involved, where she goes, I can't believe you let that black monkey lay on top of you, which I thought was just completely deplorable. It was just a horrible thing to say, you know what I mean? And then that self-hatred, you know what I mean? Although you pass as a white woman, you are black. And to show that, to see that much of self-hatred play out was just, it was amazing. It was amazing. So again, we're back in Chicago now. We discover that Bayou's mother is struggling. Nobody is coming back to the juke joint after the big incident where they basically tried to kill Bayou. So he decides that he wants to go back and rescue Leanne and help his mother out, who doesn't want to leave the South. We already know how this thing is going to end. And so in the meantime, Leanne has basically given birth to the baby, which we all know is Bayou's baby. No surprise there. But the baby does pass as white as well. But she's concerned that this baby is getting darker and that somebody's going to discover that this baby is not her husband's, but actually Bayou's baby. So we have another dramatic incident with the brother, where the brother is basically high out of his mind. He basically says, I hate you, you black N, and they're going to kill you, and I can't wait for them to kill you. I'm going to be so glad when they kill you, because at this point they're going back to the South, which I knew it was not going to end well. And so they head back to the South. And long story short, the brother goes to the sheriff and lets them know that Bayou is there. So Bayou goes in to perform for the mother, and then he's going to basically run off with Leanne and the baby. And so there's a touching moment where he gets to meet his child and Leanne. They have a touching reuniting. He performs with the mother in the juke joint, and then the brother is playing, and he immediately starts crying because he knows what he has done, and there's no turning back. Again, classic Cain and Abel story. And so they're on a bus, Leanne and Bayou, and the guys come with the torches. They're ready to burn something down. And they basically, he goes off the bus, and Leanne has to witness the father of her child being taken from this world. It is very, very heart-wrenching, and they lynch him. They actually lynch him. And it was so heartbreaking, so heartbreaking. But the film left you with lots of conversational pieces, and that's what made this one worth reviewing. let me go back to the beginning of the film. The beginning of the film, we see Hattie Mae, and she's an older woman at this point. She goes into this politician's office, and the politician turns out to be the son that Leanne had. He doesn't know that he's black. So this is what turns this whole thing out. He's really racist as well. You see him running for office, and he's in an interview basically talking about affirmative action, how he's going to have it taken away, and this, that, and the third. So she goes in with these letters, as we talked about, and these letters are the letters that his father wrote. He didn't know it was his father. And Hattie Mae is basically saying, I would like for you to go in and reopen this investigation about this murder. So it circles back at the end of the film for you to get a true understanding of what we've been watching the whole time. If you're following me, following the lineage, this woman is the mother of his father, which makes him his black grandmother. He's also able to pass as well. But at the end of the film, we see Leanne again, and she has these paper airplanes. There's a recording that he makes of this song, very touching song called "Paper Airplanes," and the paper airplanes were the same paper airplanes that he was throwing, that Leanne was throwing into the window to get him to come outside, and that's what he wrote the song about. And so this song is playing at the end of the film, and he goes in after he's read through all of the letters, and we've seen the story play out as he's reading through the letters that never made it to Leanne. And he confronts the mother, Leanne, who's very, very old at this time, and she's just in tears. She doesn't utter the words, but she's crying as this paper airplane. She's sitting in front of the actual paper airplane and all the letters and the recording. And it was at this moment that this politician discovers that Leanne has been passing for all these years, and he, a quote-unquote white politician, is actually a black man. And so there are no words even uttered, which made it such a powerful ending to the film. But he goes out on the porch, and there's a Confederate flag in front of him. And he's now having to continue on with this lie, because now if you come out as a black man after you played this racist politician role for all these years, then your political career is over. I apologize, this is my dog. Killer. Shh. Sorry about that. But that is the end of the film. It was so powerful, and it just and what made it even greater was that you're left with even more questions. Who do you truly blame in this situation? Do you blame Bayou for knowingly getting involved with this woman who's passing herself off as white? Do you blame Leanne for getting him involved, knowing that his life was in jeopardy by dealing with her as a white woman? If she would have continued to just be black, then none of this would have unfolded. There would have been no story to tell. And then of course there's the jealous brother who, in effect caused the demise of his own brother. But again, there's so many layers to this story and so much to capture, and I've only given you bits and pieces, of the plot. And I just think it was such a great film. I have to give it to Tyler Perry this time around. It was an awesome film. Now, you're here for the rating. I'm going to have to rate this one basically at 8 out of 10 with regards to films that I've seen in the last 5 or 6 months. It was very, very well done. I do want anybody to watch, and anybody who's a Color Purple fan, please watch it, because it is Color Purple 2.0 through and through. The colorism that is played out, the self-hatred within our own community towards light skin, dark skin, the whole passing element, the Jim Crow South, all of these are things that are, issues, you know what I mean? Some of them are just as relevant now as they were even back then, but it's a powerful love story ultimately, that just ends tragically because of circumstances, the community, and then the own players, their own decisions that they made throughout their lives. So just check it out. I have to say the Jazzman's Blues was a really great title to begin with and a great film to watch. I had so many notes, and at this point I just had to go ahead and just speak freely. But I hope I captured as much of it as I intended to discuss. So please check it out. If you liked this particular review, please come on back and check out my other review on Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody. I'm enjoying this, so I will continue on doing it. Please subscribe to me on TikTok. I am Faith and Bishop 2. I'm also on TikTok. Same username, where you see a lot more content from me. My YouTube page is different from my TikTok. TikTok, I go live every Friday night. Strictly for the grown folks. We have conversations about any and everything, so check me out there. I am viral multiple times on TikTok for my family content, which is completely safe for everybody. On YouTube, you'll see the best of my TikToks, but then you can slide over to the videos and actually watch some of these reviews, which I think I'll keep coming. There's a lot more coming here on TikTok, but I'm really enjoying doing these reviews, and I do think. Thank you all for checking them out. And I do hope you come back. Please subscribe. I'm one of those people, you follow me, I follow you right back. You support me, I support you as well. I thank you all for checking us out again. Check out Jazzman's Blues on Netflix, Tyler Perry. Thank you, and you have a good day, and I'll check you out next time.